So the second mimer is base. Start again. So it was the diuk and why why the Mukabalim, the Kadmonim, talk about Eid Ein Sof as opposed to Ein Leitchila, because that is that expresses true eternity, not just that it has a beginning and then continues forever, which is true of certain creations, Bechlal creation on some level. But Eibishter's Ein Leitchila, the answer is because this is a Dargen Oir. We're not talking Yechelis. Yechelis is even higher than Oir and Taka there. That's the level of Kadman, of Ein Leitchila. Ein Leitchila would apply Taka to this deepest expression of Yechelis, but the Mukubolim are speaking already about a manifestation of Hashem, a revelation, and that is Oir Ein Sof. And that is consistent with what we're explaining here in the previous Maimer, that the Darga of the Oitzer, which is Oir Ein Sof L'Mayl Madin Ketz, is Oir, it's a Gilui Dafke, it's not Ma'ir, it's not Yechelis. And now in those bays, Rebbe will explain why that had gosh, why not go deeper? Why not say that the Oitzer is a Yin Atzmi that David gives, and the truth is he does. And the code of the answer we started to learn is because it's at the level of Yechelis and Moir, and certainly Atzmos, that raw, these pure, raw, essential levels, there is no creation. Creation is bottled of Metzias. There's no validity to creation. So it has to be a level that validates you and I in our struggle and grants us, nonetheless, the ability to achieve victory. So it has to be a darga where creation is already unfolding, because this has to be given to creation, as opposed to granting a level that's, putting it in simple language, pre-creation, and therefore in the face of it, there's no melchama, there's nothing. There's no kavanah. Restated, it has to be the oitz, it has to be a level where already the kavanah has been articulated, begins to be realized of a dira betachtonim. So it's got to be oid, it's got to be rotzen, God's manifested will, a purpose.
I try to avoid it, yeah.
Sorry?
But my mother says something, because when she talks, she like rambles and rambles and rambles, and it makes my brother really. Huh?
Somebody's talking.
About siblings suffering.
Where's this going? Oh, okay. So now you want me to. Okay. You'll unmute yourself, friends, to speak. Hello. Okay. So we were saying that it has to be, the oitzer has to be a level where the kavanah is already articulated. Dir betachtonim, and the struggle, dafke and the tachton. And that's what the oitzer must embrace that, and therefore it cannot be the essential dargas pre-articulation. Now this is very paradoxical, friends, because we addressed this, I think, in the previous year or before that. Everything begins in Atzmos, obviously, and it's in the Nisave is in Atzmos. The Nitzave is in Atzmos. However, the Nisave, this is a very subtle point. The Nisave is there should be a Dira Betachtoinim. which means there should be a gather of an Elyon and a Tachten. Elyon means higher, virtuous, closer, and Tachten means lower, further, less virtuous. So even though already in Atzmusi is Borech, the Nisave is there already. That's what starts the whole process. But because the Nisave is there should be an Elyon and a Tachten, therefore what dominates overtly, what dominates the reality and the experience of all the highest levels is the inyan of Elyon. The inyan of Elyon, of higher. And that high and closer is virtuous, and further and more distant and concealed is not virtuous. It's far from God, close to God, far from God. So the Oitzer has to be the deepest level, but a level where the process already of creation. In other words, the Tachten is going to get the Elyon, the highest possible thing, the highest possible empowerment. Maila Mailadin Ketz. All to say, therefore, the Oitzer has to be already a darg of Oir, which means, again, where the whole process of and the Kavanah starts to play out. That there will be a Tachten, and this Tachten is going to be privy to the Maila Adin Ketz in order to achieve the ultimate victory. Let's see inside the Maimon now. So why does he emphasize in the Maimon? Actually, we did a good chunk of this. So where are we up to? Should we start again? We'll ask the president. Should we start his base again? It's been a while.
Whatever. Go. We're almost up to Gimel.
Huh?
Okay. Learn it.
We just did the beginning of it. Okay, so to explain why the Maimer, the Fitik Rebbe emphasizes that these two inyonim of Verin Salmanik and Tachlis. Hein Beis Madregis Berin Sof Baruch, there are two levels within the Verin Sof. Veloikefish in Zob Yechelis Atzmos, and not higher, going to the source of where all is possible, but rather articulated and differentiated levels, which can't be therefore Yechelis. Yechelis, everything is possible. You can't identify and single out and define everything is possible by two levels, by two tnuas. So if we're talking, and that's the emphasis of the Fidik Rebbe of Maila and Mata, that's not Yechelis. That's already Oir, as explained at length. Why does he emphasize that? And why not Yechelis or Atzmos? Why is that not the Oitz, in other words? The fishes and the gele teichen close because for the Oitz to be effective, which is the whole point of the Maimer, we have to be speaking Madreges Oir. Why explains now? Why does he bring this? What the Fiebe brings this Zoyar in order to levayed in Oitz, the mile of the Oitz it's given to every year. Given to the soldiers by the officers to achieve victory over the opposition. Now, the kivin between the insof l'maydin cats who in now. So this madrega of the maydin, that's the treasure. The treasure cannot be madrega of yechelis, because in the face of that level, there's no menagid. Everything is equally insignificant. There's no war. There's no metzias. In the face of all is possible, which means pre the existence of any actual existence. So at that level, there is no, we just said it, no existence. I feel like not even something that is hidden. Not an emerged metzias, and not even a subtle metzius. Oitzer atom, I think that's the pshat. And certainly not, Yechelis is not a level which can be described as an oitzer that is as it's going to be given to soldiers to effect victory. Because in the face of Yechelis, he's saying it can't be any of that. In the face of Yechelis, there's nothing other than God to who you're giving the oitzer to. There's no other. Therefore, we're compelled to say, that's why he says, that what is the oitzer, the madrega of oir, in the face of oir, there's mila, and eventually there's going to be a mata, and there's going to be a milchama. As soon as you say mila, you're implying mata. As soon as you say oir, you're implying otherness. As soon as you say oir, you're implying darkness. And that's the point. It's going to be a darkness all the way down as a result of the tzimtzumim and the metzias, and all the way there, as it were, the oitzer is given. You say to him, moreover, moreover, he spells it out now. Let's see. This is where we're up to. Since the whole thing is for what? For the victory. This is a level that it affects the king, and he wants, in the circumstances where there's an opposition, the galis ritzoynoi, that his will be revealed and actualized and realized, and to bring about the desired victory. Quotations of the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer. The soldiers have to bring out and actualize the victory as he desires and wills it. Now, why does he? What's the victory over? The king is affected because there's opposition, which is opposes, withholds, and holds back the king. This is all quote, and over this is required a victory. Without an opposition, you can't talk about victory. Victory is only when you acknowledge there's an enemy. Again, there is a menagid. Yeah, so if there was no menagid, then you can't talk about nitzachin, and what would be then? Continuing that matter, then he just does what he wants, and there's no opposition. All is easy and free and unencumbered expression. However, when he wants something and there's opposition, you don't need nitzachin if there's no opposition. He then faces it with the power of nitzachin and achieves his victory. And moreover, how does he do? He squanders and spends all of the treasures. And even more so, the king literally throws his life before him, casts down his life. He's quoting the Friedrich Rebbe, and he stands in the throes of the battle. Conclusion of all of this is what's this whole battle is not only for the welfare of the kingdom and the citizens, the king himself. Likewise above, there's an opposition like Pari, who says, I don't know God. Like Nimrod, he knows there's a God, that he deliberately rebels against him. So he says like this. This is Negeya, not just in Giluyim, El Negeya b'chinas ha'etzem shalamayla. Bit of a problem with saying it's not Atzmus, not Yechelis, it's only Oir. So I don't know how to explain those words. Other than, as I said before, because the whole kavan of Dirib Tachtonim does begin in Atzmos. It does, obviously. So it's in the Geya there. But in the mechanics of it, in the revelation of godliness, the empowerment has to be a level where he's begun to actually articulate a kavana, and that's with his oir and maila and mata. So it's negeya in etzem, but the actual oitzer has to be a level that validates us and the world. Where the rotzen for dirb tachtonim has been articulated, that's what oir is. You understand? You see the problem I'm pointing to. The whole time we're saying it can't be a chelis, it can't be moir. And now he just threw in this line, it's negeya, the p'chinas of etzem shalamayl. So I'm trying to reconcile that by explaining it is negeya to the etzem, but only because of the nisava does it make a difference. But the nisava is maila and mata. So it has to begin manifesting first Maila. That's the Ein Sof, Maila, Maldiv Ketz. But since it's manifestation and it's Maila, it acknowledges there's a matter and it's in our world and it acknowledges our world, therefore ultimately, and therefore can be and is the Oitzer to achieve victory. This can't all be Mamish. All is possible means there could be not be So there's no battle, no difference, nothing makes a difference. At that level, nothing makes a difference. Even though be'etzem, see, this is the paradox, friends. I'm just addressing it a little bit further. We learned about this really in the Purim Tavshin Yud Gimel. Mogedike Maimer. Alkein Koros, Purim Hashem Apur. So the famous Verbrengen there, the death of Stalin, the second Maimer. Here's the paradox. It's not a paradox, it's the Seder of the whole Kavona. Namely, Nisava Kodesh Baruch is an Atzmo, so God has decided that his essence is affected. But the first gilui that he gets, he expresses Yecholis, Mo'er, that's the first level, but still Atzmitic level. There, everything is equal. And Homer wants to exploit it. That's the Goyrel. He wants to exploit that everything is equal. Lower levels of Oyer, then it's Tzadikim and Reshoyim, light and darkness. And he wants light, and he wants the light to be revealed in the greatest darkness. What you're hearing is that Atzmos, everything is Negeya. But practically speaking, the level of Mo'er and Yechelis, nothing is Negeya. That's by divine design. He wants to express the true infinite. And then comes Oyer. Oyer means already the rotzen and articulation of a purpose and a will. So the Oitzin has to be at that level of the rotzen. What's behind it all? Mashlich Chayv Meneged, that the king is affected in the most essential way. Why? Because Nisav HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's Negeya to Atzmos. And the paradox is, Atzmos Negeya, Ein Sof, pure Ein Sof, or Moir Yechelis, not Negeya. Everything's equal. And then the lower levels of Ishtalshlos, best and Shemayla, right and wrong, yes, Negeya. So we have to get, the Oitzer has to be a level that already acknowledges again our existence. And that's Oir, not Yechelis. Okay, we're not going to repeat ourselves again in a loop. It's the best I can say it and hope it's clear. Let's go further. So because it can't be Yechelis because everything's equally insignificant. The next line, by the number 15 in the text, Hashem says, this is the outset of creation. I don't know which one it is I, but I'm not sure. I don't know what I want, says God. The actions, the deeds of the righteous or the wicked. That's the dark of Yechelis, where all is equally significant and equally insignificant. Reveal, that's what tzaddikim do. Conceal, that's what the wicked do. It's all equal for Yechelis. Reveal or conceal. So that can't be the darga of the Oitzer, because that's a darga which says nothing makes any difference. It's all equally insignificant. And especially if we appreciate the language of the Medrash, which says, I don't know which one I desire, the works of the righteous or the wicked, lahoir or not lahoir. The question is, chayfetz or lahoir, apyamavu b'deshich sidus. That's the term Chazal use. How could that be? What's the question? In light of which explaining Chassidus, achilik shebein ratz and the chayfetz. The difference between will and desire is shechayfetz or pnimius aratz in atainuk. Chayfetz is the inner level of will. Tainuk, it's atzmi is dik. So havli loimer. Surely the Maimon Chazal should have stated, I don't know what I want. Which one I desire. Can be, how is it possible to say that God should delight even in the act, in the works of the wicked? The answer is, yep. When all is possible, all is equally possible. Absolutely, absolute opposites. And on this level, where's the delight going to be? This one or the other? He could, as far as God is concerned, it's all equal, be revealed to the righteous, or be concealed to the wicked. So it's utterly transcendent, and nothing has any value more than anything else. So therefore, that's not an oitzer. If we're granted that, then it's a stalemate. Haman wins the day. That's like the level of Goydel. It's the level of Goydel, the lottery, which treats all outcomes equally. They're both equally random, as it were, equally insignificant. That's no treasure. Because we need to carry out the specific task as articulated in his will. And therefore, you can't say at that level of Yechelis, he needs the victory again. Before he said it's again the etzem shalamayla. We tried to address that problem. But here he says, can't be the etzem. And bishvil zeh noisen es ha'oitzer, and he would give the oitzer. It can't be at the etzem level because nothing, he's unaffected there. When can we say what level is God affected? As it were, again, it all starts in Atzmos, but in the emergence of it, it comes much later. And it's only shaykh, only once as God has articulated the firm decision. He wants to the mitzvahs and he wants tzaddikim and not rishoyim. That once that level is articulated, that's oir, revelation, classic revelation. That's the oitzer. He wants the good guy to win and the bad guy to lose. But the level where there's no decision is made. Again, the paradox in Atzmos, it is already. But not in the manifestation, because he wants Elyon, Bligvul, and then Gvul. So overtly, there's no decision made, articulated, expressed in the dargis of Yechelis and Moir. And everything's all equal. So that's no Eitzer. That's again Haman winning. That's the Gadol, all is insignificant. Let Mordechai hang there, I hang there. What difference does it make to you? Nothing. And here, so therefore, the Alter Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe emphasized that the Eitzer is not Mer, not Yecheles, it's Eir. It's already once God has made that firm decision, and nothing will sway that after that. Going forward, this is what it's going to be. The good guys got to win. Let's conclude the Maimah, the movement. Since the Maimah of the Hilul of the Frierdiker Rebbe Shvat, he brings he brings that Zoya in order to explain what the Eitzit is, which is which is given to the soldier to effect victory over the opposition. So there has to be a level that says there is an opposition, and we need victory, and there's bad, and there's good, and good will triumph. Therefore explains what is this treasure, like if he should be Atmos, not in God's potential of Atmos where all is equal. It's in that level God says, I don't know which one I want, if I want anyone at all. No good, no help at all. No, the Eitzir is a lower level, but that lower level means it validates our world, and it's clearly the articulated non-negotiable will that's this way and not that way. In Beis Madreges, there's two levels as Hefesh Gadol B'neihem, so there's already now a distinction. It's not all is possible. I have a particular will, and the will is Kedusha, and the will is Oyer, and triumph of good over evil, and that's the Kerch that we're given, each one of us, in the fullest unlimited measure. Let's continue. No, yeah, friends, you're all with me. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's go further. So even though we're speaking about here what now the oath it's given to the soldier in order to effect the victory over the opposition, that is a adayin madrege nailis b'yosef. It's still a very lofty level. Let's see where he's going. We're talking about the level, the highest level of oir. Obviously, and this is before Tzimtzum. So what's the question? He goes on to explain the Frierdiker Rebbe. Let's just get the flow. We're talking here, it's Taka. He's contrasting what he just finished saying. Before he's saying it's Oyer, not Yecheles, not Moyer. True, but it's a very high level of Oyer. What level of Oyer are we talking about here? The highest revelation before Tzimtzum. So what's the problem? Because he says in the Maimah, these two in Yonah Marshi and Matin Tachlis, he describes them as two levels of Makiv and their direct effect on Gvul, on creation, in Beis P'chines Makiv, Makiv der Yosher, or Makiv der Chayzer. Penetrating direct light and a hovering, rebounding light. Just simply translate those words. Makiv HaKarev, Makiv HaRochek, a close encompasser or a transcendent encompassing light. So again, he's going to finish his question. When Moishe Levayizer Api Moshel Rav Mashpir Seichel Talmud, and he gives an example of a Rav and a Talmud. This is the lower level. This is now Makif HaKarev. This is Ur Yosher. He's starting the lower one first. That there is a Seichel and Svarash Miskabelitzam Betab B'chinas Oipnimi. So what he does, first he gets, beginning when the teacher teaches it, so that which he grasps, And then there's the level which is beyond him right now, and it transcends, it's a makif, but he'll get there. It's near. And eventually, 40 years later, he will grasp the deeper level as well. Like it says in Gemara, that till 40 years, one does not grasp the teaching or the mind of the master. So what's the question? Im kein ari behemshech hazman. No, he says, yeah. Mazman shana. After 40 years, he'll get to the imek hachachma. V'hu inyan makiv hakodev. So that's makiv hakodev. He's getting to his question here. How does this all fit with oil lifnei tzimtzum? We're going to continue. That's one level. Then that's one moshel. That's not the oitzer. That's the mathematic in tachlis. And then this is a very deep idea. The Talmud gets nothing and never will get anything. That's makiv harochik. Now, so one breath. The question, the l'chayda, we're talking a Rav and a Talmud and an engagement. That's surely all post-Tzimtzum. How does he apply these levels to pre-Tzimtzum? To the soft if they're Tzimtzum. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll finish the next sentence. We're talking about a relationship between the teacher and the disciple. We're talking about there's a Talmud. And he's engaging by contracting his seichel. So much so that when he teaches him something, there's that part of it that the student taki gets. In an inner way. So this is all post-Tzimtzum. If we're applying it to the Nimshal. Till the Amshachat, where you say, continue Betzim tomorrow, you've got to be thinking. Is not.
Why don't you continue? Why don't you continue?
What?
Continue a little bit. It's you have
okay,
another 6-7 minutes.
We're moving because we don't have the question yet, because this is Makiv HaKodev. That's not our question. That's post-Tzimtzum, but the Moshel of Eid Sof, Shemad didn't catch is the Makiv HaRocha, because he's going to spell out now that also is post-Tzimtzum. That's the question. We're moving. Even the Moshel of Makiv HaRocha, the idea that the Talmud will never get, that's also post-Tzimtzum. Why? Is notwithstanding the Makiv HaRocha and Makiv HaKodev, the aloofness of the distant Makiv over the close one, an idea that again he will never get. But still, we're talking the world of ideas, are we not? You can't say they're incomparable. It's a teacher and a student, and he's teaching ideas. The seichel. And furthermore, so the question he's leading up to is, this is all post-Tzimtzum, and yet Oirin Sof L'mayna Din Katz is pre-Tzimtzum. A very lofty level. How does it match? As he goes into prove, to make the question stronger. The answer only comes in his Dalit. Is all the Shaila, this whole is Gimel. I'm sorry, Shamoshel. What's a Moshel of Maki Barachik and Maki Barachik? He brings later in the Maimer, Kamei Levush, a garment, Maki Barachik, that's a close encompassing. Obayis in a house, Maki Barachik. It's not something in a different other world. The house encompasses the person with his garments. So they're related. Makif HaKodev connects to the lowest levels of Seder Shtalshalos. He said before, it's really bringing down the Ashbar to the Makabal, that's the final letter of Malchus of Yudke Vovke. That's the Makif HaKodev. So it's the lowest level of Shem Havaya. But Makif HaRachik is the higher levels of Shem Havaya. So it's still Shem Havaya in post-Tzimtzum, Yud, Chochma, Hey, Bin, etc. So he's concluding questions. How can we say even the highest level is before Tzimtzum? We see in the Moshel of the Rav and the bias, it's all relatable. Pre-Tzimtzum is totally beyond, but these are not Mashalim that are totally beyond. Even the Seichel that's totally beyond, it's still Seichel. When the Rav speaks, the Talmud knows he's talking Seichel, just doesn't understand it. But he has some relationship to it. And a bias certainly is something that we're cognizant of and embraces the person and his clothing. It's not on another planet. So he concludes his question. Even the higher level is post Tzimtzum Kain. How do you apply this to the Maimer Azoya? This whole explanation of Madmad and Katzmad and Tachlis. And that's Oid Ein Sof. It's right after the Madrega of Yechelis, of Moir, of Atzmos. Okay, Atzmos, here. Atzmos, Moir, Yechelis, 2 levels bound. Oid Ein Sof. The Baile Madin Kentz Madin Tachlis. Pre-Tzimtzum. So how does it fit with the whole point of the Oitzer, the Meshalom of the Oitzer? Okay, that to be answered based Hashem. He's down tomorrow. Thanks for joining, friends.